afternoon and welcome everyone to theVOX Fireside Chats, episode 2, starring Mr. Godlisten Shayo. G, how's it going?
All good, man. Thank you for having me.
All good, all good. And yes, we'll have a very nice chat about his career background, leadership learnings, and things like that. So let's get right into it. So for the first question, G, I like to think of people like stew, in that we're all made up of these different ingredients from different experiences and learnings throughout our lives. But starting with your earliest context, your childhood years, what are those key ingredients that I need to understand about you?
That's a very brilliant question. I think I'll start a little bit by telling about my background. I was born in a small village under the slopes of Mount Kilimanjaro, a place called Marangu. By the age of 6, I went to live with my grandmother. She was about 84 years old when I went to live with her.
Right.
And about when I was 13 years old, she passed away. And from there, I went on to boarding school. Living with her for those years, I think, now looking back, it's one of the most remarkable things that could ever happen into my life. The reason I will say that is because it was a new life, learning from an old life. So every time when we'd be in the kitchen in the evening, the stories and the life lessons that she shared with me are the core foundation of what make Mr. G who he is today.
And why was it that you were spending all this time with your grandmother?
Interesting question. I don't think it's a practice right now, but the time I was growing up, it was almost normal where grandmother or grandfathers, when after everybody has lived and started their own family, they'll request for one of their grandchild to go and live with them, just to take care of them and support them in their small needs of day to day. And it happened to be, I was one of them.
Mm-hmm. And you said that she was teaching you lessons around the dining room table. What sort of things did you learn from her?
I think the most important one was about life and how to live with people. Every day she'll say, if you live with people, you have to understand their way of life and see how you can adapt to them. And if you treat people well, down along the line, the same will come back to you. It was more about karma when it comes to treating people. And she said, there's nothing you'll achieve in life without people. In one way or another, people will be there to either support you or to lift you up. And if you're able to work with them really well, that will be the key ingredient for your success. And I think until today, I see it in my day-to-day life.
And so if in the stew, your grandmother is the meat of the stew, what are the other things like the carrots and the potatoes? You got, brothers and sisters, school life?
Yeah, I think generally along the journey, we learn a thing or two based on the people that we interact with. Yeah, I think one was teachers at primary school. I had a teacher who was really fond of me. I was a bit of a stubborn kid, yeah, but he had close relationship with my dad. And he would always report what I do at school. And to some extent, that kept me in check, kept me disciplined. But along my career, the people that I met, I think my aunt was one of the most influential people in my life. There was a time when I was in high school during holidays, I traveled to Dar. And through that experience with her, she showed me what life could be outside of what I was exposed to. And it was more about what can you achieve if you really focus on education? What can you achieve if you really work hard and have some discipline in life? Yeah, and until today, I think most of the people that I interact with, either at work or outside of work, there's a lesson you can learn. And I think I've learned quite a lot from you as well.
That's very kind.
Yeah.
And just generally, as a child, how would you describe yourself looking back? Were you always as optimistic and as good a leader as you are now?
That's a good question. I think during my primary school, not necessarily as a leader, but I will always stand out, whether it's an assignment we are given or it's a small exercise that we are given. the teachers will always point out to me, what do you think, G? What's your contribution? Can you do this? Can you do that? But like another child, yeah, I was a bit troublesome in some situation, but I always focused on my studies and academics, and particularly going home because when I grew up with my grandmother, there were not so many kids at home. So I had to do a lot of work at home. So I needed to learn how to have my own schedule, how to be disciplined, and how to make sure that I'm able to do the work at home, have time to play. And yeah, I think those are some of the things that if I look back, I would say pretty hardworking and selfless. Yeah.
Okay, so the themes I'm picking up is that it was a lot about people, like, and your interactions with different people, but also that you were always quite proactive and sort of not afraid to share your voice in class, which I think is interesting context to know.
Yeah.
In terms of your childhood dreams when you were at that age, can you remember what your aspirations were?
Yeah, there's quite a funny story about it. I really wanted to become a doctor.
Okay.
Yeah. The main reason is I think I really wanted to help people. And I could not see any profession that was better at doing that than being a doctor. And then I went to secondary school. Unfortunately, the school I went to, they were not really good at science subjects. And it happened I was really good with the business subjects. And that's how things changed.
Okay.
But I think until I was in Form 4, if I had opportunity to change, I would have switched to going back to becoming a doctor. But if I look back right now, no regrets. Yeah.
Okay. And with that, let's have our first question from the audience,
All right.
which was submitted on our submission form. How old are you, since you look so young and energetic?
I think that's a good compliment. I'm 37 years old. Yeah.
Okay. And how come you're so young and energetic?
I think the first one I will owe it to my parents. I think part of it comes from the genetics, but also I'm a very active person. Yeah, I do workouts, I run from time to time. I have a very rigid routine to make sure that I stay in shape.
Nice.
Yeah.
So moving on from the origin story a bit, carrying on into career and purpose, what was your first job? And what did you learn from that has still stuck with you today?
So my first job. So I'll start with the job that was outside of the family business. And this is back in 2008 after high school. I remember that time I was somewhere downtown just hanging out with schoolmates. And one of my schoolmates happened to pass by and saw me. He's like, yo, I'm from submitting an interview application letter for an interview with the organization that works with volunteers and teach aides and young leaders in villages. Are you interested? I'm like, hell, why not? Then the next morning, woke up early in the morning, and I went to this interview. It was a big crowd, about 63 people, and they only needed 2 people for that volunteering project. And it happened, me and my friend got the job.
Wow.
And we went on to become teaching partners, and we went to really rural villages where there was no electricity, there's no running water. And we started teaching about AIDS, HIV. We worked with primary schools, secondary schools. And just experiencing life at that level, it made me see life in a different perspective. That what you see here, it is not exactly what is happening out there in the world. There's so much more that we can do and contribute to the world. For example, in that village, I later on went, when I was working with a solar company, to sell solar in that village. And a few months later, you go back and the stories from people, absolutely amazing. You know, parents will tell you that kids are now doing really good at school just because they have more time to study. People right now can own a mobile phone because they can charge it. You cannot believe in this village. The only day you could get a proper haircut or charge a phone would be a Saturday. This is a market day where they will turn on a small generator, and this is where you come and charge your phone or get a proper haircut, and that's it. If you miss that day, you have to wait for another week. Yeah, so I worked with that organization until I finished uni. So every time I come home for holiday, I will go do volunteering, go to different villages, and just seeing life from that perspective had made me realize there's so much that yet to be done in Africa, particularly in the rural areas.
It's very interesting. Something I think me, you, and Eric all have in common from that previous interview with Eric is about doing some form of volunteering in your sort of formative years. I think gives you a lot of perspective. And maybe was that sort of the first building block in your life that you would say that meant that purpose was always important to you in your working career?
Absolutely. I think through that experience, it helped me understand and see life in a different way. Yeah, that you can do something that can help you achieve what you want as a person, but yet be so impactful and elevate so many other people. And if I look back in terms of my career choices, the company that I've worked for, it has to have something with impact, and it has to impact the people that live in the community that we all part of.
Absolutely. Yeah. Okay, so that was quite an important moment for you in your career. If you had to pick out just one turning point in your life or your career, what would that be and why?
That's an interesting question. I think I have multiple turning points, but I think the most important one that I would share was when I became a father. Yeah. I cannot express the feelings that I got when I got a phone call that the mother of Liam went into labor. Yeah, I remember it was a Friday around 3 p.m. I was in the office. I had to go and lock myself in a room and pray that it all goes well. By the time I'm holding the baby and that understanding now I'm a father, it made me see life and see the purpose that I have from a different lens. I think from that time, one of the defining moments of understanding what my purpose is, maybe I could share is, I think, is to ensure continuity of life. And it begins with the people who are close to us, and that would be our kids. But also it's broader to everything that makes life possible, taking care of our surroundings and everything that makes it possible. And I think that was the turning moment for me in terms of how I take responsibility for myself, and whatever I do, it has to be aligned to ensuring continuity of life.
And in what other ways was it a turning point in terms of the way you viewed life and your perspective? So when you look at before, how were you living then compared to after?
That's a good one. I think I started to take a pause and look at things before I acted. There are times I was a bit reckless. If I'm driving, I'll drive really fast. You're not supposed to drink and drive. The moments that I've driven and I've had a beer or two. But the moment I got my son, it was more about, okay, this life is not just for yourself. Yeah, it is more than that. There are people that depend on you, and your survival and success depends on them. And from that moment, it made me look at life differently, not only with my son, but all the people that look up to me, all the people that depend on me, all the people that I could support and influence. And yeah, so every time I'll be like, okay, is this the right thing that you need to do? What will be the impact of this? So it has made me, take a pause and ask a few questions before I act.
So just much more responsibility, not living for yourself anymore, but you really need to, you have other people that depend on you, so you can't make the same choices anymore.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. And about your relationship with Liam now, how are you able, in the context of leadership, to juggle this, role as a father, as well as your very impressive career?
So I think most of the people in the audience might not know this, but I'm a single father since when Liam was about 4 years old. And At the beginning, it was quite easy to take care of him because I was still in Arusha with my siblings. And, on weekend, he could go and stay with his cousins. It was easy. There was always somebody to take care of him.
Network.
Yeah. But in 2001, I moved to Nairobi. And I moved with him. And this is when the single parenting really hit. I think those 2 years in Nairobi were the most transformative years for myself. Because during that time is when I had to learn to become a father, also be a mother figure, be a friend, be a brother. But at the same time, kids behave as kids. And as a single parent, you want them to behave in a different way. Through that experience, it made me really become self-aware of myself. From what context? That how does what I say, what I do, impact Liam's life? Yeah? Are my choices of words and action empowering him, building his confidence? And every time I would take time to self-reflect and understand, the more I realize this is exactly what happens across our life as leaders when you work with people, is taking a moment and say, okay, how does my words, my action really influence people? Does it spark a light of something you want, or does it dim a light within these people? And I could not appreciate that experience more. I don't know, I don't have words to express, but I think there's a lot that I've learned from being a father that has helped me, has shaped me in my leadership, in my day-to-day life and interactions with people. The best thing that has ever happened to me, I would say. Second to being raised by my grandmother.
And it's truly amazing. We've discussed it at length, and it's truly incredible, like how much I think thought and proactive effort you put into trying to cover the father and the mother figure. Could you explain that in a little more detail about your thought process on that?
Yeah, so, and I've gotten this question a couple of times. I think, and this is in my own experience, that the day-to-day chores when you're a single father, like, have you done your homework? Have you showered? Are you clean? Have you gone to play? Have you done this or that? To me, those were the most easiest parts to do as a single father. The most difficult parts were to understand Liam as a child and to be aware of when to react, when to stop to react. And this was a constant process of evaluating myself before I act. Okay, I will give a simple example. It was just the two of us. So when he goes to school, I make sure I tidy the house, organize everything. When he comes back from school and come back from work, the house is a total mess, yeah? Everything is everywhere. And, the first reaction is you get agitated and frustrated about it, yeah? And then you lose the point of what was this child trying to do, right? They're trying to be creative. They're playing. At times you come and he's taking everything from the fridge, trying to make juice and mess up. And at the beginning, I would react like, what did you do this? What did you do this? And it was making me miss the point of what was the rationale behind. And the moment I was like, okay, take time, reflect, understand, and have a conversation, it made me learn and understand a lot more of what he was trying to do. And that is a process that I try to do every single day. I try to see what was the intention, what was he trying to do. And every time I get amazed. There's a day he tore his book, and I was almost angry about it. But later I got a really nice paper card written, "Happy Father's Day, I love you, Dad." And from that time, it's like, take a moment to see the intention before you react.
And I think with the parallels and the analogy between fatherhood and workplace that you mentioned before, would you say that that's similar in empowering staff to try and fail with, certain things in a business context?
Absolutely, absolutely. Particularly, I'll speak with the team that I'm working with in Mombasa. Absolutely fantastic, brilliant people. And whatever we have achieved is because I've given them room and space to create, to share the ideas, and we take those ideas and craft a solution out of it. And through that, there's so much that we're able to do. Yeah.
And on that topic of failing and getting learnings, have you had a major career setback or failure that stands out to you, and one that you learned some valuable lessons from?
Definitely, many. But I think the one that is important for me to share would be balancing personal life and work life. And this was in the early years of my career when I was working with a solar company. I had about 3 jobs. So with this company, I was a project officer. I worked between 8 to 5. In the same company, I had an accounting job because I'm an accountant by training that I will do between 5 to 8. And then the NGO that I worked with, I had a part-time accounting job that I'll do over the weekend. So I really never took time to rest. And at the same time, I would still want to go out. Yeah. And I think one day I was in the office and I was feeling really tired and decided to take a nap. I woke up 3 hours later and people tried to wake me up. I couldn't. It's just because I was too fatigued, because, I did not take time to rest. I was really, you have to work hard, you have to succeed. And I think as much as we want to be successful, we really need to balance about, taking care of ourselves, because no matter what you achieve, if your health is the cost, then it doesn't mean anything. And yeah, that's what I try every day to balance. I'm not really good at it, but yeah, I think it's one of those things that could bring all the success to zero.
I completely agree. I heard the analogy once that, all the things in life, like your career, your family, your friends, they're like objects on a table, and then your health is the table. Without your health, there is nothing.
Exactly,
it's all gone.
Yeah. So being able to strike that balance is absolutely important. Yeah.
So next up, we'll have another question from the audience, which is, how do you stay motivated beyond financial success?
You cannot eliminate financial success out of it. However, what sits at the top of the pyramid is the purpose that I have. Yeah. The purpose that I have, if I was to share with it, is number 1, to honor God, cultivate inner growth, and empower others. And every time I have opportunity to do that, I've got all the energy. Yeah, and anytime, it's a challenging moment, I always look back and say, okay, what is this situation going to help me? Yeah, is it helping me honor God? Is it helping me to grow as a person? Is it helping me to empower others? And every time one of them is a tick, or all of them is a tick, I'm in.
And that helps you get out of bed in the morning?
All the time.
Yeah.
Every day I know I'm going to the office, and there are customers that will call because they have an issue with their phone, and we'll be able to help them and make life easy for them. Absolutely. I'm looking forward to that. Every day I wake up and go to work, and I know there's somebody in the office who is not motivated to come to work, but they see me, and then I give them that energy, and they're ready to stay in and give it 100%. Definitely, I want to do that every day. Yeah.
And on the based off of that, what is one particular career moment that you're most proud of?
So I did mention that I'm an accountant by training. Yeah. And I did share the story that there was a time I was doing, project officer role, and then in the evening accounting role. After this incident where I kind of passed out in the office, and after hours they had to wake me up, I had a conversation with then the founders, because we were still a young company, and I had to make a choice whether to continue on the accounting path or to stay in the commercial operation path. And I did choose a commercial operation path. And yeah, I don't know what would have happened if I had chosen the accounting, but I'm absolutely proud for making the choice of choosing the operations path, because I think that's what has led me to where I am. But also it gave me opportunity to work with so many people and see the impact really on the ground, customers' house. And through that, it has made me satisfied every time I got there. And I think that was if I look back, I think I'm really proud of that decision. Yeah, otherwise I'll be office doing some accounting work to interact with people.
No offense to the accountants, though.
No offense. They're great people. No offense. Yeah, but I think personally, with my personality, being out there interacting with people, it kind of brings the best out of me as well.
Absolutely, and maybe gave you much more leadership opportunities that way as well. Because right now, how many reports do you have on the system? Do you know?
I have a big team. They report to supervisors, report to managers. I have about 5 managers who report to me, and a number of supervisors. I don't think it's the size of the team. I think it's the impact we were able to achieve.
You're very humble, but he has got over 300 people who you're ultimately responsible for at the end of the day, which is an incredible feat. And you've been in the role for how long now?
So yeah, I joined Watu. It was July of 2023. So as a head of credit.
Yes.
Then earlier this year, around February, credit and customer success were merged to customer engagement. So almost a year now with customer engagement.
And since you've joined Watu, perhaps even could you explain your career journey, the steps that led up to Watu, including Coco and etc.?
Yeah, I think one of the key moments is this time that I went for this interview with the NGO that I mentioned. It was called Support for International Change. I continued to work with them throughout the uni. After I finished uni, I also continued to engage with them. If they had like field activities, testing, any campaign, I would still go with them. And then I was doing the part-time job with them. And one day a friend of mine called me and is like, "Gee, we have some small job for translating. Would you want to come?" It was about a 5-day job. And it happened to be with this organization called Off-Grid Electric. I'm sure Eric mentioned it. It's the same company. And I was just supposed to translate their first training and training manuals from English to Swahili and Swahili to English. But a few days later, the director for the organization told me, "I think you should talk to Erica," who was a co-founder that I had also known from my early days of volunteering, about working with them. And after the translation job, they gave me a task to do debt collection. This time, we were selling small solar systems. And there was no integration with M-Pesa. It was still a new thing in the market. So you had to do door-to-door to collect money.
Really?
Yes.
Didn't know that. And
that was my first job. I did for about a month. And one day I was just sitting. They gave me a contract. And the role was a project officer. I did 3 months. I was still doing the accounting part. And then I had to make a decision. I wanted to continue on the operations. From there on, I went to do, supply chain and distribution. I did set up the entire network to distribute solar system from a smaller office in Arusha to all the regions that we're expanding to. Then I ended up doing sales job, field operation, customer success. I worked with them for about 10 years, and I had opportunity to work in different countries, Rwanda, Nigeria, Ghana, the company. And then later on, after traveling, this is when I needed to settle down and really be a father to Liam. So I had to make a decision of where I really wanted to settle and provide the life I wanted to Liam. And Nairobi was the first place. And then I think that was second, Kigali third, and Kampala.
And why was Nairobi first?
Why was Nairobi first? I think it's just because how it is, yeah. Big city, metropolitan city, you have access to really good education, medication, and I think it's a really good exposure for myself and Liam as well. Yeah, so I happen to have worked with people who moved to Cocoa. And before coming, during COVID time, we were already in conversation about coming and working with them. And yeah, it worked out. So I packed my bags, Liam, we moved here.
Right, so you secured the job with Cocoa before moving to Nairobi.
Yeah, okay. Yes. And then I moved to Nairobi. So I came here for, before moving, I came here for, field visit to understand the business and see if it's something that I wanted. I think you did a similar thing with Watu.
Yes,
yeah.
And also with Cocoa. Even people don't know, but I interviewed with Cocoa at the same time while Watu offered me a job in the end. So could you explain what Cocoa is?
Yeah, so Cocoa is clean cooking company that sells cookers and cooking fuel, which is ethanol, not kerosene. So it's much safe, it's clean. And the way their space was, to substitute charcoal, or paraffin. And, they have these vending machines where you can, pay by M-Pesa and self-serve. And what was the key thing for them was affordability, where you could buy as cooking fuel for as low as 30 bob and be able to cook a meal. Yeah. So it was generally for the general people in the market, not necessarily people in the high end.
And again, it was a very purposeful company, because I remember they said a statistic like 200 to 300 Kenyans ultimately die per week as a result of cooking with charcoal inside. And so that was the main point of ethanol, is that it's much, much safer, right? So it's a very purposeful company.
Absolutely, yeah. And it's one of those things when you talk to somebody who has used it, you can see the element of it from how much they're able to save from not using charcoal or LPG gas, and how much they can turn that money into something else, and how it is safe for them, because a lot of times when you use kerosene for cooking, it has some side effects, coughing, most of it, and there's all of those benefits. And just knowing that no matter how difficult the day was, with as little as 30 bob, you're able to cook a meal. That isn't the burden of a mother and a family.
And how long were you with Cocoa? And what role?
So I worked with Cocoa for 2.5 years. I did a lot of things with Cocoa. So I was more like a problem solving. So I was given specific projects. And after I finished the project, I moved on to the next one. So the very first project was to design sales tools and processes, because they were only operating in Nairobi and they wanted to scale and move out of Nairobi, go to Mombasa and other parts of Kenya. But before doing that, they wanted to make sure that they have the right tools, the right processes to enable them to scale. And my job was, to work with a sales guru to develop and test those tools. I did that for about 8 months. And once we were successful, we rolled them out and they expanded. And then the team, then I moved to customer care. This is when the team needed to come back after COVID. And, things were not good in terms of performance, in terms of operating rhythm. So I really need to bring the team, set up the office and make sure I hire the right people. So I did that for another 6 months. Then when it was successful, they launched a new product, which was a product built on the agents model that we had, which was to sell FMCG. Focus on the fast-moving products like maize meal, soap, the small stuff. And I did that for about 8 months. As a project, it was not successful because the value proposition was to offer cheaper than supermarket, but because of volume, we couldn't.
Sure.
And they had to shut it down. Then I moved to commercial to design tools and processes. And during that time is when I found out about Watu.
Could you explain how that happened?
Yeah, so I happened to meet with Eric somewhere in Nairobi. For coffee and a conversation.
Based on your previous relationship at
Yes.
the solar company?
Yeah, so Eric and I worked together at the solar company. I started early, it was 2012, he joined in 2013. And I think around 2018 he went to Mkopa, but I stayed there for 2-3 more years later. Then I moved to Nairobi. And then from time to time we'll meet for a coffee and conversation.
Okay.
And this is when I was asking, what do you do now? And he told me, yeah, I'm working with this amazing company called Watu. And then he told me about Watu. I did not know Watu by that time. And then I went on and then Google searching what it does. And I was absolutely amazed with what he's doing. And the big reason is, as a person, I believe one of the biggest problems we have in Africa is the black tax. Yeah. By the time you get your first job, you have 5-6 people that you have to support. And the way I see it, I'm not saying supporting is bad, but it kind of limits individual progress. But if we are able to make so many people financially independent and be able to take care of them, there's so much more we can accomplish. And seeing Watu financing motorbikes, this is literally somebody who has finished secondary school. They don't have a job. If they fall sick, they have to turn to their uncle or to their aunt for support. But the fact that Watu is able to finance them and immediately you get your assets, you're still on the road, you start making money, it's breaking that barrier. It's removing that level of dependence. And because of that, I was like, I want to be part of this. So later on, I told Eric, yeah, I think if you guys have an open position, let me know. I think that time they're going through restructuring process. He told me, send me your CV, but we are through a restructuring process. So then it took about 5-6 months, and I got a call from Andre. He set up online interview, and then a few weeks later, I was called for an interview in Farasi with Andre, Sergi, and Andre. And after the interview, we were talking when I'm going to start, and here I am.
And how were those interviews?
A bit scary and a bit nervous, but absolutely amazing people. I think they are very calm, genuine in their questions. They really wanted to know my experience. I remember one of the questions Andres asked me is, from our conversation, it seems like you've done a lot of field work rather than office work. Now, we have 2 positions between credit management and customer success. Which one would you do? Like whichever has the most people and biggest problems. And that's how I ended up becoming the head of credit.
And over the course of maybe, let's say, your last 5 years, when you've been in more sort of leadership roles, could you pick out perhaps a leadership highlight and a leadership lowlight that you've faced?
At the end of the day, and this is personal opinion, there's nothing we do without people. And the highlights and lowlights are with the people. Yeah? For me, if you're able to really connect and relate well with the people and be able to grow them, there's nothing that you cannot achieve. Yeah? And particularly with Coco, with Watu, one of my highlights is being able to connect with people and all coming together to one goal, one purpose in terms of why are we here? What do we really want to achieve? What is my contribution into what we want to achieve? And in that journey, focusing on growing each other and always realigning back to, what do you want to achieve? What do you want to achieve? And with what I think I've been able to do that to some really good degree. Team in Mombasa, absolutely amazing people. I was a bit worried when I was joining. How is it going to be? And they were coming from a very difficult moment, after retrenchment, losing a lot of colleagues, team members, being uncertain of what the future is going to be like. Being able to turn that and say, okay, that has been done. This is where we are. How do we move from here and build the culture of, openness, engagement, and, always in pursuit of success. That has been my biggest highlight. I will say low light is when I'm not able to do that. And it happens all the time, where things don't work out as you want, but I always go back and say, okay, that has happened. What can I do? Go back to that. Okay, what can I change? What can I improve? Always take time to reflect and see how you can correct course, and we move forward. Yeah,
I think that's an interesting point about connecting with people so much, because in business it can often be quite cyclical with high highs and low lows.
Yeah.
But when you really go the extra mile, as you do, to care so deeply about people, I guess maybe would you say that helps like make the lows not so low, because you can always come together as a team?
Yeah, I would say making it easy to bounce from the lows. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, it actually makes it easy to bounce from the lows, but I wouldn't say the lows are not there. They are always there. Yeah, it's part of life.
And also the trust as well. I think that's an important. If people believe that you care about them, then they have the trust in you that after the low times, that there will be the bounce back, which helps with the bounce back, I suppose.
Absolutely. And now you mentioned trust. I don't think it's something people have to believe. It's something that people have to experience. Yeah, that from how you interact with them, how you demonstrate yourself, it has to really embody what you are teaching, the direction you want to go. If I say X and do Y, no matter how much people believed in me, that trust will be broken. Yeah, so you can go back to leading by example, but everything has to be translated into action that people can really see and say, okay, yeah, this is happening.
And in terms of more practical ways that you cultivate trust, what does that look like in Mombasa?
So the very first thing, you have to trust before you know the people. Yeah, so that's the principle, that I will trust you until you prove me wrong. Yeah, so that is the first principle. And from the beginning, be as honest as possible about your intentions and about who you are and how you feel in certain situations. Yeah, I think once people are able to predict and know who you are and know your intentions, and over time see that in action, in practice, the trust will be built. Yeah. And in case people break it, if you understand the intention and see how you can correct it, we're all human, we make mistakes, and we definitely have more chances to change.
And sticking on that theme of trust for a little bit longer, what do you think about the concept of your authentic self, or being authentic at work? Would you say that it's important to have a work self and a personal self, or that you should bring your full authentic self to work? What's your take?
Number one, I think if you don't have one personality, then you have multiple personality, and that would be what?
Bipolar.
Bipolar. I think it doesn't matter whether it's at home or it's at work. There are some personal values that have to show up everywhere at all times. Yeah. Personally, what I say is that there are some personal things that you do not bring to work. Yeah. There are some work things you do not bring home. Yeah. For example, if I'm really frustrated with a certain project that is not going well at work, I should not bring that frustration back to home. There's some personal elements of my personal life that are not going well at home. I should not bring them to work. But I absolutely have to be the same person everywhere. And this is by demonstrating your values, yeah? And trying to really say, okay, understanding how do you balance between what to share, that is personal, what not to share, and create that boundary. I think it is absolutely important.
How do you do that? How do you distinguish what personal things to bring into work? Because in some contexts, bringing personal things to work helps build trust, build relationships, but others, it can be too much. So
Absolutely. It's just knowing what to share and what not to share. So, for example, people know who G is. People know about my son. I will ask, people, what did you do over the weekend? I will share what I did over the weekend. But there is a limitation to what you can share, right? I will say, okay, I went out. I don't have to say what I did when I went out. You understand? Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah. To that element. Yeah. Even when it comes to work, in the same context, there are things that you cannot share. For example, there's information that is only to my role, that it's not for consumption to the other roles. So you have to make sure, okay, how do you balance? Yeah.
Got you. And next question from the audience is, as our industry continues to evolve, what skills or mindset would you say are most critical in order for us to stay ahead?
Oof. So number one, I think the only thing that we need to make sure we do is we do not stay the same. Yeah, we always have to look for how to improve. Yeah, and this is make sure that you're innovative. You make sure that you are creative in everything that you're doing. Particularly now, things are changing a lot faster than it was before. Yeah, because if your competitor launched something today, it is out there on the internet. You can copy paste. Now, if you're not changing fast enough, you'll be left behind. Yeah. So continue to seek self-improvement if it's personal, but also remain innovative, creative all the time.
So that's more on the mindset of things, that we need to be ready for change all the time, and welcome change, and actually look for change. But what about sort of skills do you think people need in this day and age?
I think that's a good question. I think anything that is related to artificial intelligence, it's a space where we all need to learn and learn faster, because things are not working the same way they were working 5 years ago.
Not at all.
Yeah. A simple example: 5 years ago, you have somebody who is taking notes of your meeting. Right now, you don't have to transcribe. You have an AI that is recording all of that and giving you the summary actions and meeting notes. And the question is who knows how to use those tools is what will make the difference. Yeah.
Absolutely. Even personally myself, I was tasked with drafting a legal contract between us and a third-party external company.
Yeah.
With no legal background, but with AI, I was able to draft a contract that I shared with the legal team, and it only had 5 amendments on it. So anyone can, I think, become anything at this point, and you can now become almost you have an expert consultant right next to you.
Exactly. It's like the entire world knowledge is brought into one place and everybody can access it.
For free.
Yeah, for free. Yeah. Exactly.
Precisely. Looking more now at personal habits and reflections, what routines do you have that keep you grounded?
I think if I did not have any routines, I would be a crazy person. I think I have some personal routines that keep me grounded. And one of it is making sure that I work out. I think I've been running at least 3 times a week since 2003. And
wow.
I keep doing that until tomorrow. No matter where I am. I don't run as much. In front of Kenyans, I often say, I just go jogging. I'm not running because I'll do 6 to 10 kilometers roughly.
Okay.
Yeah. But it's something that I always go back to. And there's some small day-to-day, like I will make my bed every day, I'll make sure I brush in the morning, evening. Just those small basic routines that the more you're able to do that, the easier it for you to build discipline on big stuff. That's how I look at it. Yeah.
And how about when you're relaxing, any series or documentaries that have stood out to you recently?
Yeah, I love watching documentaries, doc dramas, and National Geographic. Recently, what I watched maybe 2-3 years ago, Social Dilemma. He talks about how social media platform uses algorithm to to navigate or to make people do certain things. And just watching it and then relating it to generally what happens in life, it kind of opened my life, my mind so much. Because have you ever had a situation where you guys are having a conversation about, let's say, buying a laptop or buying a car, and then you go on Instagram and you start seeing the ads?
Yeah. All the time.
All the
it's
time.
Listening. It's definitely listening.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Have you ever wondered why you are on Instagram and you were just there for 5 minutes, but you come and look, it's been 30 minutes. You know, there is algorithm that keep you hooked. And
the reels you send me as well.
Exactly. And I think looking at it, I think it's something that most people need to look and just be aware of how it functions so that you make your choices while you're informed. I think that was quite an interesting one to watch.
Did that impact your usage in any way or how you viewed your relationship with technology?
Absolutely. So the very first thing is, the very first question I asked me is, why is it for free? Right? You upload your photos, you upload your videos, and they're not charging for space. You know, with Gmail, if you exceed 15 GBs, they're going to charge you. But Instagram will not charge you. Facebook will not charge you. Yeah, and then you realize you are the product that they're using to make money. Now, the question is, how do you utilize it? Yeah, are you utilizing it with benefit to yourself? I'm not saying it's all bad. Yeah, there's a lot of really, really good content you can learn from these platforms. Yeah, but the question is just be aware of what you want to use, how long you want to use it, and for me, mostly was particularly with my son. Yeah, knowing like what should he has access to, and what could be the impact, and all of that. Yeah, definitely, it has impacted how I use and how I view. Yeah, I know I'm the product, so I make better decisions. Yeah.
Good. And in terms of other bits of media that have stood out to you, is there a particular quote or learning that's really stuck with you that you heard?
Yes, I have one. It's actually in one of my poetries back home by Thomas Edison. He says, "There's always a better way to do it. Find it." Yeah, and the reason why it stuck with me is it embodies the elements of self-improvement, which encourage critical thinking, innovation, and not being stuck, and just the belief that you can do it better. You just have to look for ways to do it. Even if you're stuck on something yesterday, come tomorrow and look. Okay, ask questions. How can I do it better? Talk to people and see. There's always a way to do it better. You just have to find it.
And could you relate that to an example at Watu?
Yeah. So
many, by the way.
So many.
But pick one.
One is, I think this one you and I will understand, is how to drive collection rate for SIM customers. Yeah. I think the first project we had was SIM engagement program. I think the first structure that we rolled out is not the same as the second one. We went back and say, okay, what can we do? And until today, I have not stopped. We're still running pilots to find ways how we can better engage customers and drive the outcome that we want. So I always go back to that and say, okay, there's a way to do it better. Just find it. Just because you failed on this one does not mean you have to stop. Or it's the end of the road. Yeah.
Moving on to next question from the audience that was submitted. G, in my opinion, you are the most positive person in Watu. Where does this positivity come from? What is your way, how you recover after you've had a hard or long working week?
So, oh God, that's a good one. So I think the positivity comes from generally who I am. I think I see possibilities in almost every circumstance because not only do I believe, but I've grown to experience is your perception is what limits you. Yeah? If, let's say, a bad situation happened and you decide to say everything is bad, then you'll see everything is bad. But if something happens, you say, what lesson can I pull out of this? okay, how can I prevent this from happening tomorrow? And just always realizing that too will pass. So if you keep a negative energy, just know it will pass and it will not mean anything. So it will be, I think it's far easier to just, stay positive, remain optimistic and just put in the energy, because it takes the same energy to be negative.
And is that mindset something that you learned from someone in particular, or where did that come from? That optimism and view of the world that mistakes are opportunities for learning?
Absolutely, from my grandma and most of people that I've surrounded with. Yeah, one of them would be Eric Masao as well. That, from our conversation, yeah, this will pass. Why are you worried, man? This is simple. Well, let's go on, And seeing people, from documentaries, from books that I've read, seeing how much where people have come from to what they have achieved, it just empowers me. I think there was a session we went to Zanzibar and I was listening to Andres' story that he started by selling something, and where he is today, all of those things I say, it's just how you view it, and you can absolutely achieve anything if you give it a positive look. Yeah.
And what's something that's important to you that we haven't covered today?
I think you've covered a lot.
We've covered a lot, it's true.
Covered a lot. Yeah, we've covered a lot. I don't know. I cannot think of any right now.
I've got one. How would you like to be remembered?
Oof. I think it's a very big question. I have to think about it a little bit. I would like to be remembered as a person who empowers people. Yeah. Empowers them in a way that they self-realize the power they have inside and to bring the best out of them, whether it's through the casual interactions or through work relationship. But definitely I would want to be remembered as a person who has had a positive impact to the individual who I've come across in life, and somebody who has contributed, however small, to good of the world. Yeah.
That's it. And as we're heading into the final minutes, what's one message that you would give to our colleagues watching?
I will still tell them that doubt will always be there. Yeah. But remember, there's always a better way to do it. Just find it. Yeah, there's always a way to do it better. Just find it. The doubt should not stop you. Yeah, just get started and move on. And even if you fail, get up. Let's move. Yeah, that too shall pass.
That too shall pass. Yeah. Lovely stuff. Well, G, thank you so much for your time today. It's been a real treat, especially for me to interview you. When I first joined Watu and I was based in Mombasa, new country, new continent, new job, you were really, always there for me. And the times we shared over a white cap and a dry fry and boozy, I'm so grateful to you for empowering me at the start of my journey here. And I'm sure, thank you on behalf of all the colleagues watching in Mombasa. You really are a true inspirational leader.
Thank you. It's been a true honor. I think I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for the people that I work with. So thank you, everybody, for taking the time to listen to me, sharing my journey and experience. Thank you.
And also a huge thank you to all of you watching for spending your lunchtime with us. Huge thank you to the brand team as well for making it all possible. So we've got Natalie, Grace, Shamia, Imali, and Sarah, of course. Also to the IT team for making it possible, Parmesh, Rob, Peter, and finally to Nino from HR for making it possible as well. So thank you very much and see you for the next one.
Thank you, everybody.